Have you seen this? I hope not, because these are our 5 worst favorite films of our first 100 episodes.
This show would not be possible without the support of our patrons. If you would like to support our show, join us at patreon.com/haveyouseenthis. For just $5 a month, get access to our Discord and all 3 episodes every month covering movies you've never heard of, or maybe wish you hadn't. Welcome to Have You Seen This?
The world's only podcast about obscure, overlooked, and misbegotten media.
All discussions will be spoiler heavy.
You have been warned. Now, when I say worst favorite, that can mean 2 things. A movie that we absolutely hate, or a movie that, like a car crash, you can't look away from. And that in itself is notable.
Yes, because when I looked at your picks for this, it was going to be an episode, it ended up being 2 episodes. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, we created just too much content for our listeners.
Knowing Tim, I looked over the list and I was like, okay, like I understand where these picks are coming from, because I see movies
Place of resentment and loathing.
I see movies that Tim really loves and will go to bat for, and then I see other ones that he absolutely hated, Mad Dog Time, and I also see ones that are, by most standards of cinema, are considered bad, but there's something about them that sticks in the mind. It just as Tim was saying, like the car crash that you can't look away from. So I hope you're all ready to rubberneck, because we got some Lulus tonight.
Yeah. Jen, do you want to start, or should I start? I mean, I don't think anyone could guess my opening volley for worst favorite. Jen, would you like to guess what my first worst favorite movie is? And I'll give you a hint. It's all I've been talking about.
Yeah, is it spoiling the surprise to say that actually I have your list right in front of me, so I wouldn't have to guess?
I don't know if we built up too much, but over the last 30 years, episode 18, where we had Matt Chrisman on to talk about Mad Dog Time, that is undefeated as the worst movie that I have ever seen, even taking into account that one amazing movie.
Yeah, I was going to say that I don't think you're overselling it at all, because I revisited Mad Dog Time yesterday.
I'm so sorry.
And made it halfway through. And I was like, this is just...
You've given it more than it's due.
Oh, yeah. And I realized that it was just going to continue in that vein. That we were supposed to be delighted that there were all these appearances by great actors just completely wasting their time in a project from a supremely untalented Hollywood fail-son. And we were supposed to applaud this and think this dialogue is really cute and funny. We were supposed to believe that gangsters routinely have Mexican standoffs across wooden desks in a parking garage.
It's so contrived, but not in an interesting or rewarding way for the viewer. A lot of it is, hey, I showed up because I wanted to give Joey Bishop's son a favor.
Hey, it's Joey's kid. You can't say no to the little guy.
He's making a movie. Come on, for old time's sake.
Yeah, and I gather
Jeff
that
Goldblum's like, I suppose.
Do you know that I forgot that Jeff Goldblum was the protagonist in this movie?
I hope that he forgets that that he was in this movie.
Yeah.
I hope that he hopes that, yes.
I got what you were saying.
Right.
That's still more clever.
I'm sure he hopes you forgot he was in this movie.
Yeah. Sorry, Jeff.
Richard Dreyfuss, yeah.
Ugh.
Just he's in like 2 scenes that I remember.
Yeah, and I didn't get to the scene yesterday when I rewatched it, but there's that scene where, because Richard Dreyfuss is, I don't know if you realized him, but he was getting out of the psych hospital.
Did they mention that once or twice?
Yeah, like it's subtle, but I think they expected the viewer to pick it up.
Okay,
This is a movie that rewards your attention. Fuck it does.
It isn't clear why it is so significant that he's getting it, because I guess he's in a mental hospital. But like, oh shit, oh fuck, here comes Richard Dreyfuss. He's crazy. He's worse than the Piranha Brothers. They're gonna sick Spiny Norman on us. Oh shit. And then like he comes out and he's like in a bathrobe, and you're like, "Hey, I'm Richard Dreyfuss."
Yeah, which I think is supposed to be funny, but what gets me about it is, and this is a scene that I said that I didn't get to yesterday because I was just fucking done and turned it off.
Fair, yeah.
There's that scene where there's a big party for his character, and then Gabriel Byrne, who's just been hanging around being an asshole for the bulk of the movie,
Right.
just insults the living shit out of him to his face. And then nothing really happens?
Well, the dialogue isn't meant to serve any kind of dramatic purpose. It's there just to sound clever.
Yeah, which is why they repeat the line, "He has a grace in the hole," referring to Diane Lane's character more than once. Because that is so fucking funny, dude. Did you come up with that all by yourself?
It makes me think, is her name Grace, perhaps?
Ugh, he's just like, and I didn't like this movie the first time around, and Matt was very gracious to come on and talk about it. Matt, we hope wherever you are that you're doing well, healing up, get well soon, King.
I hear he's getting out soon.
I could see him
Shit.
just showing up in a bathrobe and being like, "What?"
Right, yeah. People will love it.
Didn't love it the first time, that was for sure. But this time I was like really angry because it is such a plentiful waste of time. Just like the pinnacle of the kind of thing that the shitty son of a hack comedian would make.
Right.
Just like, oh no, like this is going to be really good because it's like gangsters, but it's funny. And it's like, it's not funny, dude. Nothing about this is funny. It's just sad.
It's like witty without being clever, if that is such a thing. And you also have to consider too that this came around like an indie gangster movie glut, so that kind of helped it to get greenlit. It was much like the Boondock Saints guy with that Overnight documentary that's worth checking out.
Oh yeah, that's a great documentary.
Yeah, just really getting high off his own supply. And anyone could come, any jackass with a script and some connections could come in and make what people hoped would be the next Pulp Fiction. And a lot of people had their shot, and we, the audience, suffered for it.
It's funny too that this was sold kind of as like some kind of a scrappy indie film. Like, I don't know if that was I can't say for sure if that was the marketing at the time, but it seems to have been the impression that you got, which led you to see it.
Oof. Yeah, I blocked out so much of that initial experience that I couldn't say why. But yeah, it did seem, it's something different.
Yeah.
And
well, how old
that
were
was
you?
my
Like 18?
mistake.
Like,
yeah, thereabouts.
yeah,
Yeah,
like the
18 or
scales
19.
hadn't yet fallen from your eyes.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, that was, I learned the lesson against trying something new. And after that, I just watched Marvel movies.
Well, you were like, it couldn't possibly be worse than Highlander 2: The Quickening.
No. I mean, it was more of a mistake than say, Almost Heroes or Godzilla 1998.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People talk about 1999 being a great year for movies. What about the year before that?
Yeah,
I think we just had to balance the scales.
there was nowhere to go but up.
Right.
Ugh, yeah, like, and the other thing about Mad Dog Time is that even having seen it before and watching it with attention, I actually wasn't on my phone or bullshitting around while I watched this.
Like when you were recording the show.
Yeah, I couldn't make head or tails out of where the story was going. It was so confusing, and I was sitting there with IMDb open in front of me so that I could like cross-reference like which actor was playing which gangster whose name they mentioned a couple times. And then they all just get they get killed off one by one.
Right. And there's also some needless conceit about it sort of existing in a pocket universe.
Yes, which seeing that again, I wondered if that wasn't a later edition as some kind of like desperate attempt to save the movie, because
could be, yeah.
It is so removed from human experience. You wonder if maybe they went like, you know what, let's pretend that it's in like another dimension, like some kind of
Right.
gangster dimension for people
Which,
who say, "Oh, well, boys have swag, men have class."
right. Which only just further confuses whatever the fuck the proceedings are. Because if you take that initial, like, weird, pocket dimension conceit, then at the end it's like, okay, well, you live in a gangster time capsule of about 4 people.
You live in a gangsta's paradise.
I guess so. I don't know what their end game is from that, because it is, I guess Jeff Goldblum is supposed to make some kind of power play, and Ellen Barkin is a part of it. And then there's also Joey Bishop's son, who's just like a thug meathead.
You want to talk about guys who wear lifts? That guy is 100% wearing lifts.
Right. Yeah, he's he is an auteur and a difficult screen presence.
He's lucky he's friends with Quentin Tarantino. Otherwise, he wouldn't even get a sniff of a movie camera.
Right. I don't have enough bad things to say about it, but we do have 9 or 10 more of these to get through.
Good thinking, Tim. We must punish ourselves further.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, you can get 2 extra episodes every month, plus access to our growing catalog of reviews for just $5 a month by going to patreon.com and searching for "Have you seen this?"